Alright, here's the video for the 2M. I'm going to kind of give you my version of it. Just a refresher, 2023 spring drafting, Titans CNC building blocks. We're going to save this as the Titan 2M using capital letters. We're going to save it. The first thing you do is you want to right click new component, and we'll call this one the 2M. It should pop up right here, that way we're using our components like we're supposed to. Now we're going to go to Google, type in Titans of CNC, click on Academy, click on Building Blocks, scroll down to the 2M, scroll down further, find the one that says Fusion 360 CAD. You can watch the video, or like I'm going to show you, you're going to draw the part real quick here. So this is the blueprints. That's why I clicked on the PTF. So what you're going to do on the blueprints is you want to kind of decipher where that XYZ 0 is at. In this case, it's right here. So I'm going to work in the lower right-hand quadrant when I create my sketch. So this is the first sketch I'm making right here. So I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to choose a plane, which is going to make me say top plane. I'm going to drag this over and I'm going to create a rectangle. The rectangle size is 5 inches by 1.95. So I'll come back here and I'll go ahead and create a 5 tab 1.95. My goal here is to show you a couple shortcuts. So I'm going to do the work for one of these and then make it work for all of them. So it looks like it's a 0.25 by 0.25 angled line across here. So we're going to draw a line intentionally wrong. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and dimension from here to here at 0.25. My dimension, so see how it's kind of coming off at an angle? I want to go further in the direction I want. Let's put that at 0.25 also. And then I'm going to go ahead and trim the extra of this out. Now if I look back at my plans, these are rounded corners, so we've got to find the view. It says 8 times R 0.125. So let's go back here and let's go with the fillet right here. And we'll go with 0.125. Then I don't want to hit enter, I want to just keep clicking and get both those set. Now, like I said, I'm going to show you kind of a trick to make it easier, not do that work twice. So we're going to do a line. If I hover on this this full line here, midpoint shows up, that's the very middle of the line. I'll go ahead and just draw that line across. If I come to this bottom one, the midpoint shows up, I'll draw that across. And I'm going to use my mirror tool. I'm going to go ahead and grab like right here to here. Make sure I'm just getting the rounded corner of the straight and the rounded corner. And I'm going to choose a mirror line. I'm going to do that right there. And I'll hit OK. And now I want to do that same thing to take it across. So I'm going to go mirror. I'm going to go in, I'm going to choose my objects, which are these right here. I'm going to make sure I get this one. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to choose this one here. I'm going to get that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mirror it over the line right here. And I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to go back and just go ahead and delete my mirror lines. Now a couple things. This is nice and clean up here. I want to get it clean all the way around, so I'm going to trim and trim. And I'm going to trim and trim. And I need to trim this out of here. T for trim. Alright, so now we have this, but we can move some things. We want to make sure we get all of our dimensions on there. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go down here and choose snipping tool. And I'm going to snip everything that's got the blueprints on it right here. And then I'm going to go back and just double check myself. So I have 2/4 and 1/8. So I'm going to grab a highlighter and I've got this and I got this and then I got this down here. So I need this 1.95, right? That's going to be my total length. So I'll go back to Fusion. From here to here is 1.95. Now I know there's going to be one that's from here to here, which is 5 inches. And so I'm going to go back into here to this blueprint, and I'm going to go 1.95 and 5. Now these 4.75 and the 1.7, I got those when I did that mid-plane across here and the mirroring without having to actually get them. So those ones are good. Right, so the last thing I need to do, I got my 0, 0, because I know where that's at. It's this location right here. I'm ready to extrude, so I'm going to go finish sketch. I'm going to rotate it, and then I'm going to extrude it. And I'm going to extrude that up. If I go back and look at my plans, it looks like it down here is 0.75. So we're going to go 0.75. Alright, so now we got a solid part. Let's go to our next plans. Scroll down. It looks like we put the holes in here. Again, we talk about symmetrical. So like this side, if I drew a line down the middle of it, these three holes are the same as these three holes. So I'm going to go ahead and jump back to Fusion. I'm going to create a sketch on this face. When I do holes, I like to do points, so I'm going to create points. Point here. I'm just going to throw 3 points out there. Now, if we were to look at this hole says 2 times, so this one and this one are lined up, so I can actually lock those together. So you see the dotted line? That locks those two together. So if I grab one, well, it should have moved the other. I can lock them together with the horizontal and vertical, so I can choose this one, and that locks them together, so now I can move them. But they're still white because there's dimensions I don't have on them. So I'm going to go back to my blueprints, pull up my snipping tool, get a new snipping tool, and let's get this view here. And let's start getting some measurements. So 2.125 is what I'm going to start with. So that's the measurement from here, the center point there, to the 0 here. So let's go back to Fusion, dimension from here to here, 2.125. And so that's got those two locked together. So there should be another dimension. So I got left to right, now I need top to bottom. So let's find the dimension for that. So top to bottom. So I got this one. Now if I go left, I see 350. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 350 in. 0.35. Okay, so then there should be a dimension for this one. Probably left to right also. Let's grab it. Let's go see if we can find that dimension. It's this hole right here. From left to right, if I follow it up, it's 2 inches from here to here. So let's go back to Fusion. Let's change it to 2 inches. Now it's still white. If I grab it, I can move it up and down. So I need a measurement from here to here, which is, again, you hit D for dimension. So let's go back to our sketch here. So from here, see 975, 2 times 0.975. That goes up to my 0. So 2 times is just because there's the one here and the one here. So let's go back to Fusion and do 975, 0.975. All right, so now we got to do the same thing down here. We need a dimension from here to the top to control it. So that dimension in this case is going to be 1.6. So let's go back and put it at 1.6. If you ever get off a dimension, you can just double click on it. 1.6. So that locks that into place. Let's go finish sketch. Let's rotate it around. And let's put our holes in here. So the hole command. So we want this hole, and this hole. If we go look at our blueprints here, our holes are 6 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1/4 20 UNC. That tells me they're threaded. So let's go over here and choose threaded or tacked holes. Let's go down and choose our thread size. So if we go size, it's going to be a 1/4 inch hole, which is 0.25. And it should say 1/4 20, I believe. You see 1/4 20. Now this right here, 375 min, and this is depth, right? So we want to go depth. So you look at this. This is our definition of our hole from top to bottom is 375. All right. So the next thing we got to do, because I think there's more on here. So we got this taken care of. But you see this chamfer 275. So that's that countersunk hole. So you see countersink. So you can see the chamfer, the angle right here. And if we go and we kind of look at that blueprint here, it says it's a 275 chamfer. So let's go look at this. This top measurement across here is supposed to be 0.275. So you can see the 275 chamfer. And let's hit OK. So there's our top holes right there. Alright, so yeah, at this point we could mirror them over and get the other 3, but we're going to do something a little different here. Because if we keep looking at this, we have this rectangle cut out. Alright, so we want that rectangle. We'll get that in there first. So let's go back to our Fusion. Let's create another sketch on this face. And I'm just going to draw a rectangle. And if you notice, it snaps to that top line. It snaps to this bottom line. Let's get some dimensions on this. I need a width and a height on this rectangle. So I'm just going to throw these 2 measurements. I know these are 2 measurements I have on here. My height is going to be locked at 1.95 because I want top line to bottom line. So I really don't need that dimension, but I can need this one here. So let's go back to our part here. And let's see if we can get a snipping tool that gets all of our measurements. So let's go new. Let's grab this guy right here. This gets all of our measurements right here. So we know the width of this is it's from 1/2 inch to 1.5. And so we can see our 0 over here. So let's get some dimensions. Back to here. I don't need this one as much as what I need is from this line to this line was 1/2. And this line to this line was 1.5. And so if we go back and look, that's our two measurements for there. Our 1.95 is also on here, here, and here. So let's go finish sketch. Now we got to figure out how deep this cuts, right? So we'll click here, and we're going to go down with this. But how far? If we go back to our blueprints, we can see this relates right down to here. The depth of this is 2 times 0.4. So we're going to go 0.4 deep. So we'll go minus 0.4, so it'll cut that away. Now I like to do as much as I possibly can. This is all chamfered right here, right? Top edge chamfer. If you look, you can see typical 0.01 chamfer. So every edge is chamfered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go chamfer, modify, chamfer. I'm just going to click this top face and type 0.01. So that got that chamfered. And then I'm going to go ahead and do another chamfer because this edge and this edge. So if I click something wrong, I'm just going to hit cancel. Let's try it a little different. Let's go like this. Let's go modify, chamfer. And this is kind of a cool one. I want to select edges. And so I can just go right in here and I can grab this. And that'll have gotten all 4 of my edges. And I'll put a 0.01 chamfer on those. That's kind of a different way of selecting stuff. So let's go back and look at our blueprints here. I think when you look at it, there's no chamfer here, there's no chamfer here or here, but there is on this top part. I can't do that yet, and I can't do these ones yet because obviously I haven't done it that far yet. So let's go back to Fusion. So I want these to be mirrored over to here. So I'm going to go construct, midplane, choose this spot, rotate it around, choose this spot, get the middle. Let's go mirror that over. So I want to mirror, and again, in this case, I want to mirror features. So if I go down here to my last thing, I want this, I want this, and I want this, and I want my holes. And the plane is right here. Hit OK. So the last thing I do, I need chamfers on this top edge here. So let's go modify, chamfer, and I want to get rid of this. So I'm going to hit the arrow and get rid of the construction lines. Let's choose these top edges here, and let's chamfer those at 0.01. Now the last thing I want to do is I want to save it. Hit OK. Some kids will screw up. They'll click the X before, and if you see this, cannot close until jobs. So make sure you aren't Xing out of it too early. So let's let it get saved, and then we should be good to go.